What's going on, guys? Welcome to Streets Won't Forget podcast. I'm here again, myself, Dodzi Ladzekpo. I'm here with my boy.
Louis, what's up, guys? Feels like it's been a while.
Yeah. Louis wasn't able to jump on the last one, but we had a special guest, obviously Paolo, jumping in. He's going to be on many more podcasts to come. Don't you worry. But yeah, since me and Louis last spoke, a lot has happened. A lot we probably can't
Yeah,
even get. Yeah, a lot we probably can't even cover in this episode. The England game that happened as well. You know, there's obviously still a debate about Southgate. Quickly, Louis, I want to get your thoughts on just the game, Southgate. You're feeling right now. You've had a few days to set it in because I'm sure the fans would like to hear what you got to say, man.
Um, to be honest with you, bro, the more I think about it, the more I just think like the game itself is just one of those days. You
Mm.
know, these days happen in football. It's the nature of knockout football. I mean, if that's a league, we probably bounce back next week, get a comfortable win, and then we're back rolling back on the board again. But um, with knockout football, there's a lot more involved in terms of luck, mentality, all of that stuff. So, look, Kane 99 times out of 100, he bangs that penalty.
Yeah,
The way I look at it, I think yes, overall we were a better team. I mean, I don't think I think personally we could have played for 2, 3 games and not scored from open play. But the penalty was a gift, and you have to take your gifts, and we didn't. There's definitely positives to take. And for me, I love Southgate. I love the job he's done, but I think this might be the end of the road, not just for him with England, but I think he's done a great job. But it's being an England manager, it takes it all out of you, man. And if he wants to go and spend time with his family for a year and a half, 2 years, and then return to club football when he's ready, then I wouldn't begrudge him. And I think that probably would be the best for all parties. I hear the argument, which I know you're going to say about is there a top manager out there? Um, Maybe not, but I think it's hard to go again so many times. I know Lowe's done it, I know Deschamps done it, but it's hard to bounce back again after 3 disappointing um, nearly moments now.
yeah, definitely. Nah, I mean, the more and more the days go by, the more I do hear this argument for Southgate to step down. To be honest, not necessarily because he's bad, but more because like it's probably just it's done its course kind of thing. 3 tournaments, you know, with people say the best England squad since the golden generation. It's probably it's a suitable time for him to go. As you
Mm,
mentioned to me in private in the group chat and things like that. It's very easy, not just in management and football, but anything to leave when it's not necessarily you haven't necessarily done a sackable offence. You know, losing to France in the quarterfinals is nowhere near a sackable offence.
I
But
agree.
yeah, it's about looking at the bigger picture. It's
Mm,
3 tournaments now. England 2 World Cups, and if you look at the teams he's beaten, I need to remind people, but yeah,
mm,
it's not necessarily the big games that he's been winning. So
yeah,
just like how people can look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and it was like, it's taking United to a good point. United were in a bad point with Mourinho and previous managers, but he's taken them to a good point. Southgate's done the same, and I do think, there's a strong argument for yeah, letting someone else
mm,
take the team even further. The only obviously thing that I mentioned, is I don't see a I don't see a great fit out there. I mean, if you look at English managers, you've got Deitch, you've got who's very, very unproven in terms of like what he can do with
top level.
lots at his
Yeah,
disposal. You've obviously got Lampard, you've got Eddie Howe,
Gerard.
Gerard, Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe would be great, I think, but I don't see him
Yeah.
leaving Newcastle. And just wanna, Thomas Tuchel. I mean, I said to you, I like the idea of Thomas Tuchel being England manager, man.
Mm,
I know he's not English, and people are like, you shouldn't get an get a non-English manager. And look, ideally, the manager is English, but he knows the English game. And I think out of all the managers we've seen, he's eye test wise, he gets his team playing the best football as quick as possible. So
mhm.
I mean, that's who I'll be looking at. Who would you be looking at, man?
Um, yeah, I mean
And what
the
would
obvious candidate is Tuchel. I think great coach. He seems to know how to galvanize a unit. He's worked with big players before, big egos. He's proven now at three big clubs. I mean, I know it went a little bit stale at all three, but he's proven now at three clubs where there's immense pressure. I mean, Dortmund not so much, but PSG and Chelsea, that there's immense pressure. Um, I think great manager, great tactically, knows how to get the best out of most of his players. Obviously, there was a couple of situations with Lukaku, but the way he had Neymar playing, the way he had Mbappe playing at Chelsea, he walked into a group where the defenders were very old, and the attackers, there wasn't really any out and out goal scorers, and somehow managed to push them through to winning the Champions League. I know Chelsea are that kind of club; they thrive off the chaos, so maybe there's that argument as well. And look, I understand the whole not English thing, especially since he's German. I think if he was Dutch or Belgian or like Italian, I don't think it would be that much of an issue with people. But a German, and then obviously on the flip side with Pochettino, he's Argentinian as well. But what people need to understand is the world's changing as well as football. Nationality, as much as it's still a big thing for some people, a lot of people feel more national. Me and you are the same. We feel English, but you feel Ghanaian, I feel Italian as well. And I know that's because of our roots and stuff like that. But people can feel things in, I'm sure Tuchel loves England. I'm sure Pochettino loves England. I'm sure Mourinho loves England. These guys have earned a living from this country. They've managed players from this country. So I think people need to understand the landscape of football and the landscape of the world's changing. And yeah, there's the argument of, foreign managers never won the World Cup. Yeah, well, until last week, an African team hadn't made the semi-final of the World Cup. Records are there to be broken. So
yeah, and the English managers never won the Premier League, So
exactly,
I don't know. It's just little arguments like that. I don't think are substantial enough to be like, no, we shouldn't get this manager in. But yeah, we ain't got much time, so I'm gonna have to wrap up the England chat there.
yeah.
Gonna have to go on to the big one, World Cup final on Sunday. We know who's gonna be in it now. Argentina, who me and you predicted, by the way. Let's not forget that. Me and you predicted. Yeah, we've
Let's not jinx it though.
Yeah, but yeah, we've got them in the final. We had them against England, but that wasn't to be. Going against France now. France, second time in a row, France are in the final. What were your thoughts on both games? You can start any game, man. I mean,
I'll touch on France first, because I'll leave the MESSI dick riding for another 10 minutes or so. But with the whole France game, do you know, I put a tweet out. They really remind me of Simeone's Atletico, but they're a lot more slick in possession. In terms of, they're very happy to sit on the edge of their box, and they're very happy. They attack when they get a trigger to attack. That trigger is usually when Griezmann gets on the ball and Mbappe and Dembele make them vertical runs between the centre back and the full back. It's such a good outball for them. Or when Tchouameni gets on the ball and starts driving forward with it as well. I feel like they're very clever in the way they attack. They don't commit loads of bodies forward, especially after they've been 1-0 up. I feel like they'll put the pressure on before they go 1-0 up. Once they get 1-0 up, it's very much about, let's not concede. Let's concede as minimal chances as possible. And then they've got that speed and that power the other end to get in behind. And look, they're hardened winners, most of them guys in that team. You've got guys who have been there, done that, worn the fucking trousers multiple times a season, internationally and at club level. So, these guys are going to pull you through games at the end of the day. Varane's been in every situation possible as a footballer. Mbappe's 23. He's been in every situation possible as a footballer. Giroud's been in every possible situation. These guys are leaders of the team who have been there and done that. And, I think Deschamps is happy to trust them in games to let them do their thing. But, he surprised me yesterday, Deschamps, with his changes. I was positively surprised. I think the switch to putting Mbappe central and putting Thuram out wide worked, because it meant that Morocco were getting a foothold on that game, and Thuram was going to do his defensive duties, and then they've got the outball over the top of the two backup centre-backs in Morocco. and that's what led to the second goal, which won them the game. So he showed some balls when you could probably say he's a coach who doesn't show some balls. So, I was impressed. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a typical kind of match we expected from France in the last few tournaments, riding a few periods of pressure from the opposition team, but pressure where it's never really like, they're going to get one here. I think Morocco were close, to be fair, but I think, in previous games against, England, it looked like, yeah, they're not necessarily in the ascendancy, but they don't look like they're going to concede. And you always worry with France, well, going against them. Yeah, like we've got, MBAPPE any minute of the game can get in behind, and Griezmann any minute of the game and put in a pass, and Giroud, now you have to say him as well, 4 goals in the tournament, any minute of the game score, to be honest. So it was yeah, not the prettiest game for France. They don't play pretty football, man. But I think, to be honest, like with the players they've been missing in terms of Benzema, Pogba, and Nkunku,
Kante.
Yeah, they've kind of been. It makes sense, in terms of the pragmatic kind of football they play, and you just have to, unfortunately for most fans, because obviously they beat England, but you have to give them massive credit because this is a tournament where they weren't expected to get to the final after all the injuries. Ballon d'Or winner Benzema out, they weren't expected to get to the final, and they've done it relatively comfortably. So yeah. Obviously, unfortunate for Morocco. It would have been great to have, first African team.
Would have been amazing.
World Cup final. They've done so well, to be honest.
Fans have been amazing as well.
Yeah, fans have been amazing, and they've been the story of this World Cup for sure. And
I agree.
We hope that some of their players, in particular, obviously Amrabat, we want to see him more in the big stage. Hopefully, a big team picks him up. But they've been fantastic. They've got obviously the third place playoff game against Croatia. But on Croatia, obviously they played Argentina now. And this was a game I predicted wrong because obviously Argentina lost to Croatia in the last World Cup 3-0. So I thought, I don't see it being... Argentina really struggled in that game. And Croatia, obviously, they're hardened. They keep the ball. They don't necessarily threaten up front like other teams, but they don't necessarily concede. But that was an interesting game, I think, in terms of Argentina's performance. I think most comfortable performance of, most, I don't know the word, maybe resounding performance, to be honest, because people's always been a tight game, but they showed we were favourites for this competition for a reason in that game. And a special shout I want to give out is Julian Alvarez, I think, because he is looking legit. Like, he's looking so legit. I thought he was going to come in and be one of them guys at City who kind of like maybe how Calvin Phillips been so far, just bedding in League Cup games here and there. Bro, this guy's looking like legit one of the best strikers, one of the best nines about, man. I don't really see much flaws in his game.
Gabby Jesus, who?
Hey, bro. He's watch when he comes back, man. Watch when he comes back. But it's crazy. In all fairness, that is why he got rid of him. Not necessarily that one's better, one's worse, but one's got amazing potential. So apart from Messi, what did you think of the game? Or you can factor in Messi. You can do whatever.
Yeah.
Messi deserves a special shout though. So.
I'll just get it out. I'm not going to speak about it anymore. But he's the greatest to ever put on a football shirt. Definitely in my life, I can understand the old heads with their Maradonas and whatever on their muddy pitches and shit. But this guy, it defies description. It makes me. It's very rare where I watch football and I feel like I'm having. It sounds weird, but I feel like I'm having an out of body experience at times. It's so strange. But listen, we can talk about Messi all day. I'll give some of the other guys their flowers. Otamendi, before the tournament, I wrote him off myself. Fantastic. Real man, as Coach Camp would say, a real man, a battler, a leader. Again, someone who's been there, done that, I feel like these guys now, I feel like Argentina had a bit of the golden generation in 2014 and that didn't they had the Mascheronos, the Higuains, the Agueros. They had all these names. And as good as some of these guys were, I feel like now Messi's the undisputed main man. He's the big brother, but he's the big brother who you everyone's got like an older brother or like a father figure or an older cousin who they would like, who they adore, who they run through brick walls for, who they'd say jump, you say how high. I think that's how it is with Messi. I think these guys now, this is a different Argentina. They're not just fighting for their country, for their manager. They're fighting for their idol. These guys are fighting tooth and nail, putting their bodies on the line. I'm seeing Messi gets touched and the ball's running over to someone and he's there within 5 seconds. Like, the bench are jumping up and down. They're just being typical South Americans that you'd expect from back in the day. And I listened to Gary Lineker the other day, obviously a very experienced football man, and I never got to watch obviously that Argentina team back in the day. I wasn't lucky enough to watch Maradona back in the day, but he said to Pablo Zabaleta that this team draws so many parallels to that. And from having conversations with my dad, he agreed with me. He said that Argentina team, like, they had good players, but individually, other than Maradona, they were just not bang average, but they were like guys who would fight tooth and nail. They knew their jobs, they knew their roles, they were tactically good, but they knew they had the genius up front, and they knew that as long as this guy's in space, he will do something. And I think their whole tactical setup is based around, they adapt a lot to the opponents, but also as well, they adapt in games to how you can get Messi in the best position. When Messi drops deep, McAllister will go and push on and get behind the last line. When Messi goes forward, McAllister will tuck into midfield. It's really good to watch. Sometimes it isn't the prettiest, but when that man gets on the ball, it's like the stadium just stops.
Yeah.
And I've got to give plaudits to Scaloni as well. Young manager, the youngest manager at the tournament. And he's some of these guys he's come up against who have been in the game for years and years. He's tactically adapting every game and using the players at his disposal. It's not a balanced team in terms of the profiles, but he's making it work by putting these guys in roles that suit them. So that's all you can ask for as a coach.
Yeah, no, massive shout outs to Scaloni, to be honest, because to get your team to bounce back after that first day defeat where I was looking ropey, it takes a lot. And this Argentina team, I think they're the only team in the tournament to not lose a game on XG as well, which does say something, by the way. I mean, people hate stats and whatever, but I think that XG prevails at the end of the day, man. If you're winning most of your games on XG, chances are you're going to finish higher than the other team. You're going to go further in the tournament. So,
unless you're Brighton.
Yeah, unless you're Brighton and you don't, and you got Welbeck up front. But massive shout outs to Scaloni, because Argentina, when they went out of the 2018 World Cup, I thought that's them, man. I thought, what, Messi's 30, 31, now he's going to be 35 next tournament. Like, how's he going to be? Obviously, you couldn't have foreseen Aguero retiring, but Aguero wasn't even a feature for Argentina then. Dybala kind of falling off. But, we've seen the emergence of stars. We've seen the re-emergence of guys like Otamendi. So it just it goes to show a great job Scaloni's done in terms of this long run they've had, bar the Saudi Arabia game. The final now, Argentina versus France, repeat of the 2018 game, which was, for me, it was the game of the tournament, one of the best games ever in World Cup history.
Real, man.
Unbelievable game, unbelievable goals, Pavard, Di Maria, MBAPPE, so many stars out there. Pogba, everyone was playing well that day. Crazy game. But both teams going for their third World Cup. How do you see this game going, man?
Well, one thing I will say, it's a very different Argentina to that game. I think the reason that game was so frantic is because the Argentinian defensive midfield then to now, just chalk and cheese in terms of organisation, in terms of commitment, in terms of willingness. It's just chalk and cheese. So I think it's going to be a lot closer. I think it's going to be a lot cagier, which you expect with all finals, let alone World Cup finals. For me, it's a really tough one to call. I keep going back and forth in my head. I find it very difficult to write off Messi, but then I find it very difficult to write off France. Um, so I do think it will go almost to the distance. I think either 2-1 or 1-0 Argentina in extra time. Um, Simply because it just feels right. It just feels right. We've had this debate for so long about Messi, Messi, Maradona, Messi, Ronaldo. Is he the greatest ever? I just feel like it feels now like it's the time to just settle it and just have the conversations done. I feel like it's that time. Argentina. I'll go 2-1 extra time, and I think Argentina score first. France hit back in the 85th, 86th minute, and then Argentina show their character in extra time and get the goal.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's interesting, man. Oh, bro. Now I'm thinking about it. It's a hard game to call because obviously, but Argentina like well oiled, but France, I think certain areas of the pitch, like their individual quality, a player like Tramiro, I'm thinking of, has been last couple of games. I think he's been top
Yeah,
notch,
fantastic.
and I think he's gonna be key for them on Sunday. But you're right, man. Like the script is absolutely written for Messi, and even me, I'm not saying I'm quite neutral. I'm more neutral Messi than let's say you are anyway. I'm
Yeah,
more not
definitely.
necessarily a Ronaldo fan, a Messi fan. I probably prefer Messi to Ronaldo, but in terms of my favorite player of all time, favorite players of all time, probably Henri. So but I did watch the Messi documentary. They did a documentary on him on BBC. It was iPlayer. I watched it a couple of days ago. I think it was, can't remember what day. I think it was Sunday.
Mm.
Did kind of made me think, yeah, man, like he deserves to win a World Cup, man. And for him not to win the World Cup on Sunday, like that is a horrible end to not I don't want to say his career, but like this little story of Argentina, like in terms of Argentina with Scaloni. I think I
Mm.
don't know. I think it'll be a bitter pill if he doesn't win this World Cup, man.
I
Because
think it is and it isn't because we've seen the star factor and we've seen what we've seen so many times over the years, this time on the biggest stage. I feel like if he loses this final, I don't feel like it's any fault of his own.
no,
Um, but in terms of the story, you're right. It does, it would sort of confirm to me that football is not scripted.
yeah.
If he wins it, it's the football's so scripted, bro.
Yeah, it's true, man. Like, because if you think about it, yeah, it's the perfect tournament for him to win it. 2014, like right at the end of your career, you finally you retired from Argentina twice now. You've come back and you've won the Copa America finally, and then you go in to win the World Cup 35, and talks of him possibly retiring soon. Talks of this is his last World Cup. It might be his last season in Europe.
Mm.
It like it makes so much sense for him to win it now. But unfortunately, you got Mr. Mbappe, man, and Mbappe has been, for his standards, quite quiet in the last couple of games. But I think he's gonna have something to say on Sunday, man. I don't know why I recall that game in the new camp a couple of years ago. I think Barcelona 1-0 up. I think Messi might have got a pen, and then Mbappe absolutely stole the show.
Mm.
And he's the villain now. You saw him before the game against England, mimicking Jordan Henderson.
He
Uh,
suits it well.
yeah, he suits the villain role well. He obviously saw him laughing after Kane's penalty miss. He is the villain, the pantomime villain, and I think
He loves
uh,
Ronaldo as well.
he loves Ronaldo as well. He's young. I don't want to say he's young Ronaldo. He's young, possibly improved on Henri, to be honest. But how do
Mm.
I see the game going? Oh, I predicted Argentina to win at the start of this World Cup. I predicted them to win it. And I'm gonna change my mind. I think France are gonna do it. Unfortunately, I think it's gonna be a heartbreaking end to it. I think France are gonna get a very, very jammy, annoying 2-1. Argentina winning on XG. Argentina being the better team, and I think Argentina will be left like England fans were at the end of it. How did we actually lose that game? Not necessarily. I mean, with the England thing, I think low-key didn't do enough to win the game. I think Argentina will do enough. I think Messi will have a game similar to the one he had again in the final where he was good, but I don't know. I think 2-1 France is my prediction, man, and that'll be back-to-back World Cups, man. I mean, if they win the World Cup, where are you ranking France in terms of best international teams of all time? This France team from, I don't know when Deschamps took over. I think maybe 2015, but you've got to think about it. 2016, they got to Euro final. 2018, they got to World Cup final 1. 2020, okay, fair enough. 2021, they flopped. 3 finals out of 4. Where are you ranking them in terms of all-time teams? It feels a weird question, but you kind of have to ask the question, to be fair.
Also, as well, 4 of the last 7 World Cup finals.
4 of the last 7 World Cup finals. So they're becoming, what people traditionally think Brazil were. They're becoming an international football nation.
And Germany as well.
And Germany. Nah, France taking that spot. And if you want to throw in there as well, current late Nations League holders.
Yeah, worth saying.
Yeah. I mean, are they better than the Spain team?
No. It's the whole. Do you know what? Right, it's the whole Barcelona under Pep, Madrid under Zidane thing.
Yeah,
I think it depends what you enjoy about football. If you win at all costs, France probably the best team ever. For me, I think there's something more beautiful than just winning. I think winning in a certain way is more beautiful than just winning itself. And I mean, technically, Spain did still win more major trophies, 2 Euros and a World Cup. Although you could probably say the World Cup counts as double the Euros, which probably does. I think in terms of mentality, desire to win, fight, I think France are the best in terms of, for me personally, I mean, you will disagree. I think someone like Ryan or Keelan will probably disagree as well because they view football at the core very differently to how I view it. For me, football is more than just winning, more than just titles and trophies, although those things are obviously very important. So for me, I think Spain are the best national side in my lifetime. Obviously, I can understand Brazil in the 70s. For my lifetime, Spain, France, close second, kind of like Messi and Ronaldo, kind of thing.
Yeah, nah, I hear that. Look, you're right. I'm a person who sometimes I look at football quite black and white and be like, if he's not winning, it's like, what's the point? Obviously, I'll probably have to expand on that point a whole lot more because, yes, it's a long point, and
We'll have a pod about it one day about that specific point of view.
we will because I don't know. I think there's ways people see the game in terms of very aesthetically, or easy on the eye, but that's a whole. I mean, it's so subjective, what that really is. But yeah, no. As much as I'm kind of like a win like wins and win first and performance second kind of observer of football. I don't think this France team, if they played the Spain team, bro,
I think Spain beat them.
You think Spain beat them? Yeah.
Do you know what? It's difficult because it's a different era of football. I feel like this France team now, obviously, tiki-taka is like, it's not washed, but it's not the way to win now. I think if this France, it's different because if this France team now played Spain in 2010, Spain would beat them. If their Spain team played France now, France would beat them.
Yeah.
But if you're talking outside of technicalities, I think Spain probably just edge it because you can't win a game of football if you don't have the ball, man.
Yeah. Nah, I think you're right, to be honest. I mean, that Italy final, like, who's done that in a international final before? Any confederation, bro. Like Euros, Copa America, AFCON. I ain't ever seen a one-sided final like that. Not only that, it was against Italy as well, So,
mentality monsters themselves.
Yeah, the mentality monsters themselves. And I do remember, like, thinking like, how do you beat this team, man? And then obviously 2014 they started to lose, and I was like, wow, that was a big shock. Whereas when France went out last year to Switzerland, I wasn't necessarily obviously it was a surprise. Don't get it twisted. It was one you could kind of see, and if France, to be honest, if say France went out to England this tournament or Morocco or whoever they faced before that, I know they've had injuries, but I wouldn't necessarily say like, oh, that's the craziest thing in the world's happened. But that Spain team there, back in early 10s, it was unstoppable because you had Barcelona and Real Madrid at their peaks as well, and you had both their best players and Messi, Ronaldo all in that team. So that is
I think as well, it's something we'd never seen before in terms of the way they went about their business. I think with this France team, we've seen teams. I think Italy 2006 were very similar to this France team in terms of the way they play out of possession and the way they play in possession. Obviously, France were a lot more direct, but I think we've seen the mechanics of how France perform. Whereas with that Spain team, that was like, if you're a football purist and you watch football, that is like orgasmic for you. Like that's something that Cruyff died for, bro. Like this, it's just total football. And it's I just think it's very. I think a team from any era would be very, very difficult to beat that Spain team.
Nah, man, I'm with that. Definitely, I'm definitely with that. When you've got results and you've got like the best playing style as well, it's hard to argue against a team like that, to be honest, man. So so just to round off my prediction there, 2-1 France. Your prediction was 2-1 Argentina. Just for a bit of fun, who are you going for first goal scorer?
Messi. I'll go for penalty. I think penalty. I think he scores a penalty. Yeah, I think Pessi scores a pen. And then I think that Marcos Acuna scores the winner.
Okay, I hear that. For me, I'm gonna go with, you know what? I'll go with Messi first goal scorer as well, penalty, and then I think Giroud's gonna score. I know I said Mbappe's gonna score. But I think Rabiot's gonna score now. So yeah, that's my prediction there, man. We will do a full comprehensive roundup of the World Cup once it's all said and done. Hopefully back in the studio for that. We'll be doing the player of the tournament, going through all our predictions we did before the tournament. And we're also going to do a special episode on the greatest players of all time. As obviously there's mad debate now with Messi in the final. Messi could win it. We're going to have a special episode for that. But that's it from me, to be honest. Lou, you got any more thoughts? Anything else you want to share?
No, I'm looking forward to a good game of football on Sunday, hopefully. And then hopefully to enjoy Christmas.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a nice way to go into Christmas, to be honest, man. I didn't think it would be with a Winter World
Same.
Cup. But I've enjoyed it a lot, man. And, going back to Prem now, at least I get to watch. I can't even watch Jesus, man. Allow it long. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm not that fast. I might, after the World Cup, I might have a little sabbatical thing from football, man, for a couple of weeks.
I hear that so fully, man, to be fair. I think, I think that's needed, but I mean, what can you do, man? What can you do? But yeah, look, that's all from me. That's all from me. And until next time, take care. Peace out. Love.
Peace out, bro. Love.